Hello there. Welcome to my campfire. My name is Seraphine, the Midnight Bard, and I travel from place to place, seeking the strange, the bizarre, and the unexplained. Within the natural world, both flora and fauna have roles that they serve, and all in a natural balance. From the tiniest plant to the largest of animals, each life balances the other in a network that is the life of this planet, and all things in that network serve their purpose by simply existing. All except for mankind, that is. Through the conquering of their environment, mankind has put themselves outside of the influence of nature, and for the most part, have little to fear of the world around them. Little indeed. For all their grandeur, mankind finds itself both outnumbered and surrounded by legions of microscopic life capable of becoming their undoing. Tonight, we will hear the tale of one whose fear of these minuscule life forms led him to a chance meeting with an entity beyond the mundane. One should beware, for there is no plague more damning than the Nosos of Fear. I know my case is a strange one, Doc. Yes, I know very well. Yet, as you can see the state that I am in, how could it be so bad? Oh, bah, I know. You're saying what every other physician has told me. It's common with the disease you have for your body to be this way. But damn it! This isn't how I'm supposed to be. No, I should be healthy. He promised me. He said I would never fall under any form of sickness. Excuse me, Doc. I try not to let myself get overworked, as it's bad for my condition. Please, hand me that glass of water. Thank you. Damn this disease. Damn that man, and damn his promise, all straight to the lowest pits of hell that even Satan won't venture down. I can see in your eyes that you don't believe me. Very well. Then allow me a moment to detail you in full length of my encounters with that man. Then maybe, hopefully, you will come to believe me. It was within the year of 2020 that I came to meet that man. I was just in my junior year of high school, doing my best to study and survive during that horrible outbreak that had gripped the entire world by the throat. I had done my best in ensuring I would never get sick. I wore my mask and cleaned my hands often, yet I watched as friends, family, and teachers I knew came down thanks to that damn disease. Though I did what I could to protect myself, I too feared for myself, for if I should catch that horrible disease, then I would end up like those before me. I couldn't bear that thought, nor did I want it to happen. Eventually, I shut myself in my room, but that didn't last long. I can't remember if I did it by choice, or if it was by another. I was in full dread when I walked to the nearby grocery store to pick up milk and eggs, and that I did my best to avoid anyone that dare make contact with me. I went so far as to use the self-checkout machines. With my things purchased, I hastily made my way home. Oh, how I wish that my mother had let me use the car, or at least come with me. For it was within that walk that a dishelmed homeless man begging on the street corner came up to me. I did my best to avoid the man, but his grimy, germ-filled hands grasped my arm as he proceeded to beg for money from me. I shrieked out of fear. How dare that man grasp me with such filthiness? Oh, just thinking about it sends my body into shivers. I shoved him off me. I rushed out onto the street to the other side, not even looking at the traffic lights. I did not care. I had to get away from that man. With heavy breathing, I came to stop at a local bench. Putting my groceries down, I went into my back pocket, pulling out the antibacterial wipes that I carry with me, standing there, wiping my arms down to the point it nearly became red from the pressure I applied to it. It was then, in that moment of panic, I heard a faint sound that grew louder and louder. It reminded me of a passing train, but the tune sounded more organic. I turned back, freezing nearly in fear upon seeing another man. Yet this man didn't look at all like a homeless man, though his beard was a mess. Everything else about him seemed clean and well kept. His attire made me believe he had left some gala. I stood silent for a moment, stopping just briefly from wiping my arm. Then in a small gust of wind, I saw tidbits of his long hair swaying in the wind. Strange, I thought, for someone as neatly dressed as him to have such long braided hair. It was so long that I thought I could nearly drop to the ground. Then I thought I happened to see some vibrant colors glow off his hair. In that staring silence, I saw the man lift his head a bit, only for me to see him flash a smile. That smile of his caused me to shiver, for I felt there wasn't any joy that lived in it. Then the man spoke.
"Greetings to thee, sir. I've come here today to give thee a helping hand under these tiring times."
The man pulled out a solid black card from his breast pocket. With his lanky arm, he held it over to me.
"My name is Neon Black, and I'm here to offer you a service." Oh yes, a service it is indeed."
My eyes shifted from the man to the solid black card. Just like the man, it was very strange indeed. I remember grabbing it with an antibacterial wipe. There was nothing written on the card, no matter where I looked. Yet in the solid blackness, I did see something, just like I thought I saw when the man's hair moved in the wind. A vibrant array of colors. After looking over the card, I looked back at the man. He was smiling at me. I chuckled hesitantly. Sorry if grabbing the card like this was weird. I'm very germophobic.
"Germs. Yes, oh yes. Germs are scary. I know how much of a problem they can be. From mankind's lost history, germs and disease have plagued thee."
I nodded. They are a problem, yet with the advancement in medicine and technology, a lot of them had just become bad memories of the past. I looked to my arm and winced. Still, there are so many left in the world, and with the way some are acting, I'm sure most will still be around after all of us are gone. The man lowered his head. He started to nod while he muttered something.
"Yes, sadly yes. However..."
He raised his head again. Still, I was only able to see his beard and smile.
"What if I could help thee in never getting sick?"
I laughed upon hearing him say that, but my laughter soon stopped when I saw the man himself wasn't laughing. He stood there in a serious manner as his strange smile had left him. Then I heard a tapping sound and saw that his right index finger tapped on a glass orb that rested on top of his cane. So, you're saying you can make it happen? I paused for a second. Then why offer it to me? Surely there are more important people than myself. The man stopped his index finger from tapping, only to wag it from side to side.
"Tisk, tisk. Now see here, good sir. This is only an offer for thee. For you see, in this life of sickness and disease, surely you will be happier with a clean bill of health."
That strange man arose for a third time on the man. I bit my lip as I listened to the man. I began to tap something against my wrist, which I saw was the strange black card the man had given me. It was at that moment, Doc, the damnedest thing happened. I didn't know what it was at the time that caused it to happen, but as time came on, I speculated on what the cause of it could have been. For you see, Doc, there tickled within a strange force. That card, or maybe the strange man, this Neon Black to say. Something pulled me into a strange, almost hypnotic daze. I remember as I stared deep into that card's blackness, I saw those strange arrays of colors fly right into me. Then in a moment, I regained myself. Completely embarrassed and shocked by what had happened, I turned to offer my sincere apology to the strange man, yet I found that I had been left alone. I looked around for the man, but found that he was nowhere in sight. I glanced at my phone, coming to find 20 minutes had passed. I couldn't believe it. How could I have passed out like that? And why didn't that man stay to at least make sure I would be all right? Just thinking about it made me more and more curious. But alas, I returned home and left the man to the back of my mind. It was within a few months that they began to reinstate schools. I feared going back, as that disease was still taking many, though my mother reassured me if I keep wearing my mask, I would be fine. But how could I be when I know there are certain people that wouldn't be wearing it? Why don't people respect one another? I remember taking my steps back into my school, coming to see that the mask situation was half and half amongst the students and teachers. Still, I was wary about my first day back. I made sure my mask was on tight and went about my day. Then it happened. It was during gym class. The coach was a well-known figure against the entire mask mandate, believing the entire situation to be a political ploy to weaken Americans. He mocked those of us who continued to wear masks, calling us weak for supporting such an underhanded move. Yet, as I stated, Doc, it happened. For during a routine run, I felt it happen. The straps must have gotten weak, for within my run, I felt my mask fall. I began to freak and tried to repair it, but our coach would just yell, telling us to keep on running and forget about it. I feared going throughout the school the entire day without a mask. Sadly, I had forgotten to pack my emergency mask just in case. I did whatever I could that day to make sure my face was covered, even using my shirt when I walked past others. Truly a horrible experience for myself. Oh, if I only knew how horrible it would turn out to be. After a few days, it was reported that damn virus had spread throughout my school. They did not know who was the spreader, though I'm sure they knew, just kept it quiet. I was trapped in a panic the entire day after hearing the news. They urged everyone, students and teachers, to be tested. I dreaded that entire day as I waited for my test results back. As I waited, I heard about many who had already been admitted to hospitals. I don't know how much I walked back and forth in my room as I waited. On the last day of the week of me waiting, my mom rushed in, giving me a big hug with tears in her eyes. I began to freak as I feared I had caught that damn disease. Just as the vaccines were rolling out, this happens. Yet, to my dismay, my mother informed me that I had tested negative to the disease. I couldn't believe it. I knew for sure I hung around most of my classmates, many that I knew were already in hospitals. Then, why wasn't I affected? Don't get me wrong, I was very happy I hadn't gotten the disease, but I had so many questions in my head. After my mother left me to tell my father the news, I sat down on my bed, holding my head. The confirmation of not being sick still swirled within me. That is when I heard a strange sound enter my ear, much like a howl, or was it a train whistle? I looked in the direction of the sound to see my pants I had worn that night I met that strange man. I walked over, pulling out that strange black card that man had given me. Was it possible that what that man had offered me was real? No, it couldn't be. Or could it? True, my test confirmed I was negative, but I knew some tests didn't truly give the right answer. I had to know. I dressed to go out, telling my mother I wanted to get out and get some fresh air. I wore my mask as I went to the bus stop right at the end of my street. The bus ride to the hospital was nearly an hour thanks to morning traffic. I stepped off the bus, staring right at the tall building where the sick gather. I could feel my heart crawl up to my throat, waiting for that moment for me to open my mouth so it could escape. That is how much I fear entering any kind of places like this. If I'm being honest, Doc, that's the reason why I'm doing this at my house, rather than in some place like a hospital. Anyway, where was I? Oh yes, I entered the hospital, the sound of my feet echoing on that shiny, scuffy floor. I had informed them that I had come to visit a close classmate. I remember walking to the area where those with that damn disease were placed. The sounds and sight of that still live with me. I felt for those captured by that disease. I pushed back my sadness, as it wasn't the time for that. I had to find out. I had to test this. I removed my mask, taking in a huge, deep breath. Making sure no one was watching, I walked down the disease-riddled hall, coming to stop one by one at each patient, my heart beating fast as I made each stop. The rational part of my mind beseeched me to leave, but the curious part of my mind to continue on with this crazy experiment. I do not remember how long I stayed in that hospital. I do remember hearing sounds of an incoming doctor, and with that I put on my mask and fled. Standing outside of the hospital, I gave one more glance to the ward I had left. I felt horrible for doing such a thing with those struggling with that damn disease, but like I said, Doc, I had to know. With another test taken, I received the results coming to find another negative. I still couldn't believe it. That look you're giving me, Doc, I know. Would you be even more shocked if I told you I did it 2 more times just to be even surer? Hell, I did both tests the last 2 times. Still, my results came negative. Now, maybe you're thinking I had antibodies. Sure, that is the best answer to this strange question. But what if I told you I did it around other types of sickness? What kind? Oh, let me see if I can remember. I tested this out with the common cold, the flu. Hell, I even tried eating uncooked food to catch food poisoning, and that didn't even work. Then to truly test it out, I did have relations with a girl in our school that was known to go around and have some disease. But even that I did not catch. Truly, whatever that man did made my body unable to get sick. How and why were put to rest with my rational mind, and I went forward with my curiosity to test the limits to this gift. The shock and disgust on your face are normal to me now, Doc. Just like that skepticism I also see within you. I know what you're going to say. Then explain how your body is in this condition. Well, you know already, don't you? Stage 4 bone cancer. It appears that gift that strange man gave me could only prevent me from catching diseases, not from ones already dwelling within me. I became devastated when I heard of the news. I asked my doctor how I could have gotten it, and was informed it must have been in me for at least a year, until it exploded as bad as it did. I don't have much time left, and it is why I called you, Doc, to tell you this, to have you warn others in case they too meet that strange man. Excuse me, Doc. My coughing fits are happening again. Forgive me. I must rest. Though I thank you for listening to my story. Surely it is a strange one indeed. Yet, if you don't believe me, look over there. At my dresser drawer. Inside is a packet that contains that damned card that man gave me. Just be careful, for I believe that card is how that man does what he does. I have no need for it anymore. You may take it. Hell, I don't care what you do with it. You can toss it to the deepest ocean or burn it, though I'm not sure that card can be destroyed at all. I don't care, just remove it from my presence. Well, it's time I take a rest. My caretaker will see you out. Farewell, Doc. Oh, and Doc, in case I don't see you again, thank you, and may God be on your side, if he can.
Thank you for tuning in to this week's story, Campfire Gang. Please remember to strike the like and sub buttons, and check out the author's links in the description below. If you like my content and would like to help support the channel, you can check out my Patreon, like these fireside friends. Also, your friend the Bard is now a published audiobook narrator. Follow the link in the description to get a copy of my first audiobook project. It's a great story, and it helps support the channel. Take care, friends. I look forward to meeting you again by the light of the campfire.